lovely good morning to you, our viewers. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Camnet TV breakfast show of today being the 4th of December 2023. I hope you're having a lovely and beautiful morning. I'm your host Miriam Kaiman. Of course, in studio, I'm not alone. I'm joined by Nelson Zulu, and we'll be taking you for an hour or so talking about various issues. Amongst them is some of the developmental issues that are happening in Kawata, where we'll be later joined by the ward councillor for Kawata Ward 5, Councillor Mindas Mata, who is going to help us discuss our topic this morning. But anyway, to get started, I just can't, go on, saying much without asking my good colleague whether he is, in a positive morning mood.
Yeah, I'm in a positive morning mood, given the fact that, the past week had been a rough one, but trust me, I'm kicking off this week with new vibes. And given the fact that, we're in December, and for me, it's better late than never. Happy New Month to you.
Thank you. And I was supposed to say that as well, like Happy New Month to you, given that, we are now in the festive season and people are, getting ready to prepare for Christmas and New Year and stuff like that. Yeah. How are your preparation going?
Preparations? Do I have to prepare? Really? Okay.
No, people do make this preparation, how they are going to spend their, their festive season, how they are going to enjoy with their families and so on.
Well, I won't lie to you. Ours is a noble profession.
Work.
Yes, we need to keep our people abreast with the right information in terms of what is happening, and it's a 24-hour service that you and I cannot run away from. So in as much as we are also trying to prepare and think about the festive season, there are also all those aspects that we have to think about. But nevertheless, yes, plans are ongoing, and
yeah, exactly.
You can't just run away from biting the nkuko and maybe having
the
rice.
Chicken, the rice, and the drinks and so on. Anyway, let's just go right about now. Let's just go direct into our health corner and see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning. I'm glad that you could join us today on the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuya Fire. So this week we are going to talk about community-acquired pneumonia. I'm sure many people have heard about pneumonia, and we're getting into the cold season where many people will be having this condition, and so we want to make sure that you understand what it is and that you know exactly how to tell if you have pneumonia and when to seek treatment in the hospital. So today we're going to talk about what is pneumonia. Pneumonia is an infection that affects the lungs. So it's an infection that is caused by so many organisms. It can be caused by a bacteria, it can be caused by a virus, it can be caused by a fungi. So this infection affects the lung parenchyma, which is the lungs themselves. So what happens is, because of the infection, your lungs are not able to to exchange the oxygen well, to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide well, and so you find that there is more carbon dioxide being retained in the body. And then also, because of that, your lungs are not functioning well, and you can easily get chest pain, you can start having fever. So that is how pneumonia comes about in the body. Now, what are some of the other causes of pneumonia? These are not only the only causes of pneumonia. Pneumonia can be caused by other things as well. So it can be caused by aspiration, for example. If somebody has aspirated, and either from choking or they were eating something and then the food goes into the lungs, it can cause a pneumonia as well. Then it can be caused by other chemicals. If you're exposed to certain chemicals in the environment that are harmful for the body, they can also cause pneumonia in the lungs. And not only chemicals, but even dust and other foreign objects that are found in the environment. If they get into the lungs, they can easily cause pneumonia. There's some patients who have had a stroke and they can easily choke because they're not able to swallow properly. And these are people that we need to really take good care of. If they're not swallowing well, we need to take them to the hospital so that they can help them to feed better and prevent aspiration, because that can lead to them having pneumonia. So those are some of the causes of pneumonia, and that is how pneumonia comes about. Tomorrow we'll talk more about the signs and symptoms of pneumonia. And so make sure you watch again tomorrow. Invite your friends as well to watch. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubianam Fire. And if you miss any other episodes of the breakfast show here on the Health Corner, you can always watch them on my YouTube channel, which is at Dr. Nakubianam Fire. So I'll see you again next time. Stay blessed and stay healthy.
Well, that is our Health Corner, where we're talking everything, the causes of pneumonia and what you need to know out there and what should be done once you're caught up in such a moment. Do you know anything in relation to pneumonia?
Basically, what I was told is that, Nelson, all the time you need to keep yourself warm and not expose yourself to the cold, because that has, other health that is one of the risks to pneumonia.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to how tomorrow will be, because she's going to be delving into the aspect of the causes of pneumonia.
Exactly.
Because the notion out there has been that
yeah. And especially that, we're in a season where it's rain season coupled with the cold and so on and so forth. So you'll find that, this is the best time, people should listen to such healthy tips so that, they protect themselves from such diseases. Anyway, moving forward, let's just get direct into our money market. So we have the United States dollar there buying at 23 quarter 6 ngwe and selling at 24 quarter 08 ngwe. We have the Great British Pound there buying at 29 quarter 84 ngwe and selling at 30 quarter 42 ngwe. We have the Euro there buying at 25 quarter 67 ngwe and selling at 26 quarter 18 ngwe. We have the South African Rand there buying at 1 quarter 26 ngwe and selling at 1 quarter 24 ngwe. That is our money market for today, the 4th of December 2023, as of 07/24.
The quarter keeps on shooting.
Exactly.
But hopefully things get to stabilize as well.
We are positive.
Yeah, we need to keep the positivity levels in check and always pray that things get to balance, because 24 quarter, that's...
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, let's get to look at some of the stories that we're making.
Just a reminder to our viewers that we have now officially opened our phone lines. Our viewers can take part in our conversation this morning. But before we usher in our guests, let's just get to zoom in some of the stories that made headlines during the weekend. We did see a story where the country marks 16 days of gender activism. The Youth Life Project in Zambia has underscored the need for renewed commitment toward combating gender-based violence in the country. Speaking during an awareness on the negative effect of GBV, Youth Life Project Executive Director Mike Nkosi underscored the need to target densely populated areas where the vice is rampant. Let's get us direct into that story.
The message is clear, but some people are still reluctant to report gender-based violence cases in the country. The country looks upon a time when both men and women will be free to report gender-based violence cases to contribute to a GBV-free society. From the 25th of November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, to 10th December, Human Rights Day, the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign is a time to galvanize action to end violence against women and girls around the world. Youth Life Project, the Zambia Police and Action Aid undertook an awareness campaign on gender-based violence in Lusaka's Munari constituency in Kalikiliki compound. This year's campaign theme is Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women, and Youth Life Project Executive Director Michael Nkosi tells Camnet News that there is a need to enhance community interventions to combat gender-based violence in the country.
Some of them they are undergoing through these situations, but they're not reporting because they don't know, they don't have the information at all. Some of them they just look at it as helplessly, not knowing where to take this information. We are encouraging the people. The message that we are carrying, first of all, is end gender-based violence. Violence against women must stop. We must be united to fight this GBV vice. It's not safe for our girl child, it's not safe for our women, and it's indeed not safe for men as well. But why are we doing this? We want to ensure that our communities are very safe for habitation, very safe for families, very safe for children, because gender-based violence by nature, it affects adversely the women and also the children, because when the beating stops, the hurt doesn't stop. The children are able to carry through that hurt, and it brings so much destabilization in our communities.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
One interesting story coming through from the communities in as far as gender-based violence is concerned, as we get to observe the 16 days of activism against GBV. How is it in your compound? How is it going? But right about now, let's get to move forward and look at the story where the Lusaka City Council, LCC, has demolished more than 100 makeshift structures in Kamwala area near Universal Church. LCC Public Relations Officer Chola Mwamba says that the structures were constructed without permission from the local authority, warning that illegalities will not be tolerated in the city. We'll also get to look at another story coming through from the Vice President, Mtalena Lumango, indicating that search and rescue efforts in the Seseli mine accident in Chingola district have not located any of the trapped miners, and their condition remains unknown. In the national address statement, Ms. Nalumango, however, says there is progress in removing debris from the 3 sites, and the Search and Rescue Command Center at the accident site remains fully activated and operational. We get to look at those stories and we'll be back shortly.
Lusaka's Kamwala area opposite Universal Church has seen an influx of traders following the removal of vendors from the Central Business District, CBD, on July 18th, 2023. The Lusaka City Council, LCC, has, however, moved in Saturday night, demolishing over 100 structures, including some that were under construction. A check by Camnet News crew Sunday found traders salvaging materials from demolished structures as police kept vigil of the situation. Speaking in separate interviews with Camnet News, the aggrieved traders expressed shock over the situation, disclosing that the spaces were bought at huge sums of money.
But we make at Baba 0 2. People chevi ndivonse baononge. Bali shwapeleka kuya mwenza kala bwanji. Kuvuke kuyo. Apopo zambi shabana nesi. Aba chevi bali kuma college. Manjo buteko bwaisa. Kablo tupela ko notice bali to bapa. Na bali tupela ko notice nga twalifuna mono katundu. manje katundu estatishiwe nokoi
5,000. Then I'm building 6, 7. Then at the end of the day, then you build your own structure. You are sleeping. Someone comes with a excavator. It's better you can not pass a notice. Maybe I can mount it somewhere else. Like that. They know. Even the minister knows. Even the council knows. How can you let people start vacancy without knowing? They know.
Commenting on the development, LCC Publications Manager Chola Mwamba says the structures were demolished as they were built illegally.
I would like to confirm that we carried out a demolition exercise last night, and we demolished 20 makeshift shops around the downtown area, or rather next to Universal Church. We are expected to demolish over 80 structures in that particular area because they were illegally erected, or rather no building permission was given. Illegal construction of buildings in this city is one of the major challenges that the local authority is facing. And we would like to appeal to residents that they should take interest in ensuring that whenever they are coming up with a building, or rather erecting a building, they should engage the local authority.
The management of land in Zambia continues to be a challenge, and this occurrence here reinforces the need for proper land governance to avoid such demolitions, which leave citizens desperate for trading spaces and residents in despair. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
From the time a report was made that several miners have been trapped under the ground where they were mining copper, not even a single body has been retrieved. Efforts so far are being made to ensure that the risk team does a good job to ensure that all miners are retrieved. This is one of the tunnels where some of the miners have been trapped under. As they were working in the night, water came through and filled this tunnel, and some of them are believed to be trapped under here, and all efforts is being made to ensure that they are retrieved from it. About Minister Elisha Matambo and Chingola Member of Parliament Chipoka Mulenga also visited the site to find out what is going on, especially to even check on what the rescue team is doing at this pit.
Best to put up, to post the team together with Honorable Minister. We needed manpower, which we have tried to put together, and we want to work throughout the night, all of us, so that we can manage to retrieve our boys. So if we put the total number, it should be 16 at one place, plus 5 on the other place, that is 21, and 10 on the other place, that is 31. It may be a little bit more or less, but it's around that figure from the information we have picked from the people who were present and that those places.
I want to lobby as Member of Parliament. We have our brothers and sisters, or should I say brothers, who are trapped. I think we need to pray together. We need to unite and work together and see that trapped. This is a time when we stood as one people. We have got a lot of security agencies that have come to support us. Minister, I want to thank the engineering squadron from Mufulira, the army that have come to help us, the Zambia National Service, and our police.
The army, Lieutenant Colonel, has also explained the efforts the rescue team is making to ensure that the work is done.
The explosives, so when you look at all this ground, it's all weak. So if you're going to engage any equipment, it means that it will come down. Yes. So which will not guarantee the safety of those inside. But the way they've gone in, the tunnel, I think the cry is just for manpower.
Some of the miners who were operating from this pit, which was once for Nchanga mine, explained how their friends got trapped underground.
Amenshi busanzo bwa menshi bwabengirire amenshi pali pamulu ya rupiri epari chima kwa chikurchari katamesha ayengi sana ayengi solo mbafta chiramesha uko chai kate karfe kanono orera meshe amaka ya pressure ya sasunka chide chine chitofu echa konkera abantu yonsa mesh mulamba.
It was water that caused the problem as it filled the tunnels where there were miners. Even the person who was sent to go and tell the friends also was pushed into the tunnel.
One of the members who were operating at this pit has also explained to the minister about how the incident happened and also the number of people that has been trapped under this tunnel.
So I said that, but I said that before you do the case.
Some miners came out of the tunnel before the incident to go and eat, and they left some boys inside. They were just surprised to see the water have already filled the tunnels when they came back.
There were about 3 tunnels at the time of this incident, and in all these tunnels there are miners that have been trapped, and all effort is being made to ensure that they are rescued from these tunnels. Tovini Ngombe, Zanis, Chingora District.
Quite interesting stories, and the last story we played is a very, very sad story there, where we are being told that over 60 people have been buried alive in Chingola. We send our condolences to the bereaved family, because we are told that some of the bodies which have been retrieved, you know, some of the people rather were found, others were found dead. It's a very quite sad, very sad situation, Nelson. There, very sad.
Very sad situation, and hoping that with the relevant authorities being on the ground, things get to move, and something would come out at the end of the day, because as it is, anxiety keeps on increasing among those, especially the affected families, whereby this person left home with hope to say, I'm going to find food for my children or for my family, and then at the end of it, you're not seeing them, and all these questions that are being asked.
My concern is that, you know, we should put in some certain forms of measures, of mechanism to ensure that we protect these people that we call illegal miners. Yeah, at the end of the day, we'll continue recording such cases.
And I feel this is the high time now that we don't need to even start calling them as illegal miners, but we should find means of ensuring that these people are empowered.
Yes.
Why am I saying so? Because this is a source of livelihood for them, and if we continue calling them illegal miners, then these illegal mining activities are going to be ongoing without any safety measures that are going to be put on the ground.
Yeah, and we'll continue losing lives.
Exactly, but in the aspect of where these people are sensitized or maybe recognized, it becomes very easier now to even chip in and provide maybe some safety measures of how they can conduct their businesses, and they know when maybe such a calamity is about to take shape or not. Those are just something that I think would be
definitely we will definitely look forward that, you know, these are some of the issues that the relevant authority can, you know, consider putting in place. Anyway, moving forward, let's get to look at a story where political activist Brebna Changala has castigated government's intention to prosecute former President Edgar Lungu for receiving retirement benefits in the period he had retired from active politics, a period during which his party officially said he had not retired. On Tuesday, November 28th, Information and Media Minister Cornelius Mwetwa disclosed that government is waiting guidance from legal experts on whether former President Edgar Lungu obtained the retirement benefits by false pretenses. But Mr. Changala has advised government to concentrate on delivering development and improve the lives of the Zambian people. Let us get to look at that story.
After losing the presidency to Hakainde Hichilema in August 2021, former President Edgar Lungu wrote to the Secretary to the Cabinet informing him of his retirement from active politics. However, during his stay in retirement, Patriotic Front officials like Party Secretary General Rafwana Kachinda said the president was just on leave.
In 2021,
we had the decision expressed by the former president wanting to resign from his position as party president, which was rejected by Central Committee at that particular time. And then he was asked to go on leave, which is already in public domain, that he announced willingness to come back to active politics.
On September 28, 2023, former President Edgar Lungu announced his return to active politics after benefiting from taxpayers' resources as provided for in the benefits of the former President's Act of 1993. On November 28, 2023, government disclosed that it had taken interest in the matter and is awaiting guidance from legal experts on whether former President Edgar Lungu got the retirement benefits by false pretenses.
Here is an example of a former president who wrote that he had retired, and on return to politics, he says his people say he never retired. What the government of the Republic of Zambia has done is to wait for legal experts to study the circumstances of the law and its subsequent ramifications.
However, governance activist Brenna Changala has castigated this move by government, saying government should instead concentrate on delivering development and improving the lives of the Zambian people.
Edgar Chagwa was entitled to those emoluments when he retired. And for you to go and open a docket to investigate, you are just trying to divert attention, and you will achieve nothing. That I can assure you. Spend more money in fighting poverty, high cost of living, high cost of fuel, the high cost of meal, and the crime that comes with it. You were elected to fix the economy, not to fix individuals. I know Lungu gives you sleepless nights. It's not even worth it. In whose interests are you trying to fight Edgar Chagwa Lungu?
Government has since withdrawn retirement benefits and privileges from former President Edgar Lungu following his decision to return to active politics. However, the debate on whether he got the retirement benefits legally or not needs quick interpretation if this matter is to be put to rest. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Zambia Sunday joined the commemoration of the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, IDPD Day, under the theme United in Action to Rescue and Achieve Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs 4, with and by persons with disabilities. The United Nations UN designated day is aimed at promoting the welfare of persons with disabilities and their inclusion in all aspects of society. It is on this background that persons with disabilities, Goodwill Ambassador Elijah Ngwale has called for the introduction of a policy to address challenges of persons with albinism. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Professor Ngwale notes that currently persons with albinism are struggling to access products such as sunscreen.
So there is an ardent need for people living with the albinism to come up with the, to exert pressure so that Parliament can come up with the act. There is also an ardent need for people living with the albinism to study the situation in Tanzania, because in Tanzania they have got very good programs.
Lecho Muzaka is a person with albinism and also a student. She stresses Mr. Ngwale's views.
So I think there must be a policy on how this sunscreen should be distributed so that they can reach everyone, even those from rural areas, even those from far areas who can't reach them, because sometimes Ministry of Health will release sunscreen and it's not enough for everyone.
Meanwhile, Professor Ngwale has cried foul for allegedly being sidelined in the official IDP Day commemorations.
You were supposed to invite me. They don't invite me. They don't invite me, omitting me everywhere. So that's why my colleagues and I, these people who are here, that's why they agreed that we should be here to do something very little.
For Camnet TV News, Afia Tula, Lusaka.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We now transition into our interview this morning, where we are joined by UPND Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor Minder Smata, who is going to help us discuss various issues pertaining to community development. Among them is some of the developmental activities that are happening in his ward. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
We are glad that you can join us on set this morning.
Thank you, and good morning to our viewers out there.
How is, to begin with, how is Kamala Ward 5 doing this morning?
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, before I answer how Kamala Ward 5 is doing, I want to make some clarifications over the demolitions that happened around Kafio roundabouts next to University Church downtown area. And I want to clarify that those demolitions are not in my ward. I know most people refer to that area as Kamwala, but politically, in terms of the demarcations, the rail line is what separates from Kamwala ward from Nkoloma ward. Okay, and Nkoloma ward is in Chama constituency. So that particular demolition in that particular area actually happened in Nkoloma ward 1. So those who want to find out more should contact either the area councillor there or the Lusaka City Council PR. Otherwise, I know people have been calling to say, what?
I'm sure you were receiving calls over the weekend.
Because as you know, again, yesterday late afternoon, we almost had a fatality of fire in Kamala ward itself, which is just next to that place which was being demolished. About 25 shops caught fire. But thankfully, the fire brigade responded very quickly, and I think there wasn't much damage that was done. I think 90% of the goods were salvaged. So that was an incident that happened yesterday. And as I was there, because I was on the scene, some people were saying, "But I said, that's not in my ward." So naturally and ordinarily, I can't give a statement or respond. The people that should be consulted on that particular matter, the area councillor and the PR department of the Lusaka City Council. So I just thought I should make that clarification before we get into this morning's discussion. And coming back to your question, Kamala Ward 5, how is it? Well, it always has challenges, especially when we are going into the rain season. Floods are always at the back of the mind of the residents in that ward because of what happened in last rain season. And I would like to say that in response to that, we are working around the clock to do drainage infrastructure. Of course, the drainage infrastructure started very late in early November, but our priority in that project was to ensure that the Kamwala South Health Post, which, as you know, traditionally, whenever it rains, it's always flooded and it has to close down for the entire period of the rain season. But I would like to report that this time around, that is not going to happen because the construction of the Pongozi drainage is a storm drain designed to accommodate flood waters. It's about at 70% completion point, and even in its complete state, with a few rains that we had, it has proved that it's able to absorb all the water that is which goes to the clinic into the drain and channel it onto the Bombay drainage. And that's not only drainage that we're doing. We're also doing other drainages linking into the Pongozi drainage. There are about 4 of them for now, and all those have been done. They're at 80% level. So it's a small step, yes. People are expecting to see drainages all over Kamwala. That's not possible because the funding from government is limited. And I would like to even inform the people of Kamwala that this particular project of the drainages is not being funded by the CDF. It's being funded by the local government, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, and the contract has been given to ZNS. Drainage construction is very costly, very, very costly, because this particular one which is being done has been pegged at over $1 million. So imagine in the CDF you have an allocation for projects at 3 million, then you knock off 1 million for drainages. You only remain with 2 million for everything else. So it's quite costly, and we thank the central government for having intervened through the Ministry of Local Government to work on that particular Pongozi drainage. The whole idea was that we view the establishment of the clinic, Kamwala South Health Post, as a very strategic facility. So our first priority, my first priority, was to ensure to say that this public facility where people go when they are sick must be at all costs spared from the effects of flooding. And so far, we have sorted out that problem.
In your preamble, you did acknowledge that the construction of the drainages, you started a bit late, but there have been concerns by the residents there. Don't you think, given the fact that we're in the rain season and a few months to go into January, I think it will be raining heavily. Don't you think this was somehow put a halt to this construction?
Okay, that's a very good question. In fact, it reminds me of one driver when I was on site where the drainages are being constructed. As I was just doing some visitation and checking, when he was passing, he said, Mwasensela Didakawa. So it's true, one may say it was Sensela Didakawa, but the government processes, procurement processes and bidding processes, they are cumbersome. And I've come severally on this platform and said, some of these bureaucratic processes are what slowed down development. Even the president himself has been on record saying that he gets very disappointed when people value process over service delivery. And that's what we are struggling with as civic leaders. The struggle of institutions that are supposed to deliver development and drive development, treasuring process over service delivery. So to answer your question poignantly, I would say that the construction of these drainages will continue even throughout the rain season, because the most vulnerable stage for construction of drainages is when you're just doing the excavation. If the rain finds you doing excavation, there you'll be doomed. But the excavation has already been done. The laying of the concrete bases and the side walls have already been done. So we don't have any pressure. Even if it rained today, we have heavy duty pumps on hand. And in fact, the time when I was supervised, I think last week when I was checking the scene, one of the sections of the drainage had been flooded. It just took 5 minutes of running the pump and it was dry, and construction continued. So we are very well able to continue the construction of drainages, this particular Pongozi and the 4 other drainages which are going into the community. Those will continue to be constructed throughout the rain season until their completion is done. One other major project was the rehabilitation of the ring road, 2 kilometers of the ring road. That was a patch that was very, very, very bad. It passes, the ring road begins in Kamwalawat, all the way up to Mpes, somewhere there in Chala. So 2 kilometers of it was badly damaged, but I'm glad to report that the works there are almost at 100% done. The only thing that is being worked on now is the side beams of the road, where concrete slabs are being put, so that even if a truck goes off the road, it does not crack the asphalt. So that has been done. The road markings have been done. So that one has been done. I think as a media, do a drive through that section. It's very, very smooth, and it's designed to accommodate heavy duty trucks. So we are expecting that road to last as long as 20 years.
You did mention of the procedure in terms of procurement being quite tedious. Have you made any efforts as civic leaders to ensure that this process is simplified to the benefit of the citizens?
That is what we do every day. I can tell you, being a councillor is a struggle every day. Struggle with the institutions where we serve at Lusaka City Council and other institutions through where the process of service delivery has to go through. I'll give you an example. There is an incomplete maternity wing at the same clinic which I'm talking to you about, Kamala South Health Post. That project was a 2021 project. Before there was even change of government. It was a June 2021 project. The construction of the maternity wing. It was budgeted for at 800,000. To this day, it has not been completed. I had to fight tooth and nail just to ensure to say that money is allocated. Because when I went there, I asked, why is this maternity wing not complete? No, the contractor who was given ran away. So if the contractor who was given ran away, what are you doing about it, you yourselves, as the council? Because it wasn't even in the engineering report, because every quarter we have reports. The engineering report will give you an update of all buildings that are at construction, that are under construction, and the completion level. That project wasn't even in the engineering reports. So it's like somebody wanted that project to be forgotten about. But I was on it. And I can tell you that as of last week, I've been pushing that this particular project should start. Not even start, but it should go to completion. Because you can't start a project that was already started in 2021. So now it comes an issue whereby they say, oh, the EGP system is down. I don't know if you know what the EGP system is. It's now a mandatory government procurement platform. Yes, EGP, electronic government procurement system, run by ZPPA. So that system has been down for the past 1 week. That means for the past 1 week, there has been no bids on any project. Now imagine that what that does. You have 156 constituents in this country. Each of those constituents has a minimum of 5 projects that are supposed to be done both under the 2023 and going into 2024. Now, if a system like that goes down, it means we are stuck. And as I'm telling to you now, I'm talking to you now, I'm stuck. Because from here now, I have to go to the council and ask if is the HEP system, they will tell me, no, ZPP. Then I have to go to ZPP. What is happening in the system? So there is all that process that is involved. From there are about 4 other processes through which one particular tender has to pass through before delivery can actually come down. Then you have the issues of the people on the ground, the people in the communities who are supposed to be beneficiaries of these contracts also complaining. Nangai contract mwabene manopasa ni mandani. But president wanaka kutuma contracts mkazipasa abantu wale ma constituencies. There is also that. So some projects have been put on hold because of those complaints. So there is all this mix of issues that delay development. And that's why I can assure you that even when we are completing our 10 years, both councillors and MPs, we are going to leave projects. Let's say our 10 years end in 2026. I can tell you that there will be some projects for 2023 which will not be finished by 2026 because of this bureaucracy which we have. And some journalists asked me to say, but why this bureaucracy? And I've discovered the reason why. Because there are some people that profit from bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is an industry. There are some people who benefit when things are delaying. There are some things there's some people that benefit. And one of the councillors one time even joked to say, you know what I think? I think some of these bureaucrats are waiting for us first for parliament and ask us to be dissolved. Then they start pushing through these processes. Because government does not stop when we're going towards the elections. The system, okay, the government system itself remains operating. While we are campaigning, while we are shooting ourselves, whatever, the projects will continue. Government is given that mandate. So perhaps maybe that's what some people wait for. Say, they can't face more politicians in the process. Then we'll quickly push through some.
But when we talk about developing the community, what implication does this have, to bring the much desired development that the community want to see?
The implications of bureaucracy on service delivery, they've got a negative impact. Like I've given you an example of the maternity wing, okay? It's been on ice, if I can put it that way, or frozen for the past 3 years. Why? If the sister in charge asks me, from the time you came, it's now 2.5 years, this maternity thing, we showed you when you just came and say, we are waiting for it to be completed. Sometimes I don't even have answers. That's why sometimes now you lose your cool and go and make noise at the civic center. And people wonder why. Because of issues like this. So the effect on the community is adverse. Because, development should not only be seen in piecemeal. When people know that there is a fund called the CDF, which is responsible for projects and other socio-economic programs like the grants and the loans and the skills development for those young people that want to get some skills courses or some skills professions. When those things delay, people will think, oh, kapela ni councillor na MP women what benefit. Or some people even think that we have those monies in our houses. We are holding on to them. So it leads to all kinds of suspicions. And at the end of the day, what is affected is service delivery. But nonetheless, we are doing our level-based. I'm doing my level-based in Kamwala to ensure to say that all projects that have been earmarked should start. And the only delay that I have at the moment is one project for 2023 which hasn't started, which is the development of a market shelter. This is December. What's the date today?
Yes, the 4th of December.
That project is a 2023 project. So ask me in January to say, has the market shelter started? I don't know. I'll probably tell you it hasn't. But that's not my fault. And that's not to say that I'm not doing anything about it. we have to push. It's a struggle. Yeah, it's not as easy as, oh, here's a project, let it be done. It doesn't happen that way. You constantly have to push the people that are supposed to be engaged in service delivery. Yeah.
When we talk about development, have we seen under the components of CDF where, you know, some locals are being awarded contracts?
In my ward, and I think majority of the wards in Osaka, because I don't know what is happening in another district, but I can speak for Osaka because I know all the councillors. I can tell you that none of the locals, and when I say locals, I mean the people that are resident in the constituency, none of them have benefited from these projects. And that has brought about complaints and noise. Because look, the president did give a clear directive to say, I want all the projects that are being given to constituencies to benefit the locals, so that the money remains within the constituencies, within the wards. But the people that are being brought to do these contracts, you find that somebody is coming from Chipata, somebody is coming from Kawe, and when you say Kawe, that's a fact. The maternity wing that I'm talking to you about, which has been completed, the person that was given was from Kawe.
Why is it like that?
So how are you, Miriam, going to benefit if you live in Chalala? There is CDF in Chalala there. Then we go and take someone from Sinazeze to come and build a school. How are you going to feel? Because let's say you're unemployed and you're looking, maybe you've got a company, you're looking for a project. It doesn't augur well. So this system of picking contractors outside the constituencies has really brought about a lot of displeasure amongst the people, because we've got a lot of people in the, and you can't tell me the whole Kabata constituency, you can't tell me that there's nobody that has got a company that is experienced in the construction or making desks. What does, I mean, how difficult is it to make a desk? A mere fabricator can make a desk. So we have that situation which is ongoing, and we are hoping that going into 2024, whenever these projects are floated, we want the beneficiaries to be the people that are actually resident in the ward. Not you go and take somebody from Chipata, you go and take someone from Kawe to come and do projects there. That simply means that that money will go back to Chipata. It will go back to Kawe, because when that person is paid, maybe they will go and buy assets wherever they are. But we want a situation whereby when somebody is given a contract, they'll say, oh, it's Miriam, then I'll be happy. Because I will know that as a leader, my people are benefiting. But if as a leader, I don't know who's been given the contract, worse off, even the laborers in that project, I don't know who they are. It's a problem. Where they're buying materials, I don't know. Because the whole point of making sure that those contracts are given people in the locality is to benefit the locals. That means if you're building a police post, for example, I want that the person who makes bricks is from Kamwal. Because I know to say that by buying bricks from that person, I'm increasing their household income. So that's another aspect of the CDF which really has to be worked on. And that is to ensure that the projects that are being given through the CDF are given to the locals, residents who are residing in that particular ward or that particular constituency.
Have we seen you as their civic leader going on ground and advocating that moving forward we have such things happening where the locals are benefiting or rather awarded those contracts?
Miriam, those are things that we do in the background, okay? I won't go on the ground and complain to say, where are you coming from harassing contractors? That's not in order. So if I've got particular issues with contractors, I don't know where they're coming from. There are channels that we use and to express that displeasure, because we are representatives of the people. I'm a representative of the people. People in that ward want to go directly to the civic center and say, Nanga, we want pass a contact in India. They have to send me, they have to make that complaint to me. And I go and represent them in terms of that complaint. And that complaint is already on record. And going into 2024, we have made it a point, and we have even told the people that are concerned with the dispersing of the contract. Because dispersing of contracts, by the way, it's not just at Lusaka City Council. There is a channel which, through it's a government channel, it passes in the other offices. So we made a point to say that we want the people that are going to be awarded the 2024 contracts to be people that we know, people that reside within the constituencies and the wards. Because at the end of the day, We want those people to be empowered, because CDF is a form of empowerment. Others will get, like I've said, not everybody will get a loan. The budget won't allow it. Not everybody will get a grant. The budget is limited. Not everybody will go to school and skills. In fact, some people are not even interested in skills. Some youth last week was telling me, I can't say that. In a vama school empowerment. You see that? So the preferences and modes where people can benefit from the CDF are diverse, and some of them are businessmen with contracts. So businessmen with contracts, their interest is on the projects. What projects are there in Kamala? How can we bid for them? How can we benefit from them?
I have seen you utilizing the social media to explain how people, especially from your ward, how they can try to go through the process of benefiting from the constituency development fund, how they can come up with cooperatives and so on and so forth. You have been quite advanced in using the social media platform, but for those who do not have access to social media, what means are you using so that they can understand the process of the constituency development fund, how they can benefit? Because we have it that for quite some time, a lot of people were complaining that they do not know how to go about with this same CDF to benefit.
Quite correct. Quite correct. The information on the CDF isn't so widespread. A lot of people do not know what the CDF is, what the components of the CDF are, and how to apply for it, or even where to submit their applications. A lot of people don't know that. In fact, like I've said several times in this platform, even filling out those forms, some people will go, Nanga Panikulemba Banji. So, what I'm saying is that councillors themselves can also play a role in information dissemination, but our reach is limited. Other people get their news from Camnet, other people get their news from ZNBC and diverse media houses, others they listen to radio, others just depend on you going to their locality and calling for a meeting at a school, at a church, or at a clinic. So the information dissemination process has not been well designed under the CDF. And that is why I've recommended, as councillors have recommended, that within the CDF, because there's a 5% of the CDF which is supposed to be used for administrative purposes. That means all those people that are administering the CDF, for printing forms, doing all those assessments, they are catered for in 5% of the CDF budget. The other 5% is for disasters. I remember when we had floods in Kamwara, we applied for that 5% disaster. It's called disaster. There was disaster in Kamwara. But the money never came out. In fact, it was rejected. The application to have that disaster money work in a disaster was rejected for reasons which I do not know. So I'm talking about the components. What I'm saying is that there should be a component within the CDF for publicity. So that we can put Camnet on the budget. Maybe every 1 hour or so, an advertisement will run on your TV station explaining what CDF is, how people can access it, and whatnot. There should be a component for publicity. And these laws are not written in stone. They should be responsive to the needs on the ground. So if the needs on the ground is that people are not having information, then you have to put a component of that. But to do that, the CDF is guided by an act. You have to change the law. To change the law, you go to Parliament. That's where you go and do it. So that has been submitted. The other component that we've been talking about, which should be taken from the CDF, is the allowances for ward development committee members. These are the workhorses. These are the people on the ground. These are the people that receive the applications. These are the people that are guiding people on how to apply for this. They are the first point of contact. They are like nurses and doctors in the CDF circles. These are the ward development committees. So the problem is that these people are not paid. Not even one on way. I have to take money from my pocket as a councillor to give the CDF chairperson to make photocopies of the CDF forms. I have to give him money for a yango to take those photocopies of forms to the civic center. In short, the expense of running the CDF program at the ward level is now heaped on our heads as councillors. But how much money do we earn as councillors for us to sustain such a... It's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. So when we cannot sustain the organization of CDF at a ward level, what happens is that the process itself suffers. Meaning whatever will come from the WDC going to the next stage, which is the Constituency Development Committee, will either be wrong or maybe they won't even get any applications at all. And this is why you find reports saying that some constituencies have not utilized the CDF. How can you not utilize money which is waiting for development? The issue is that the people that are supposed to engage the community to tell them what to do and how to utilize those funds, are not empowered. So if in the farming season in rural areas, the CDF chairman, I'm going to my farm. The government doesn't pay me anything to help you with this CDF. I'll come back in February. Then who's going to get the forms? The councillor, maybe he will try, but he's limited. We don't have ADCs, we don't have assistants. We just use our own initiatives to run this program. So what I'm saying is that, again, there should be components for allowances from the WDC. It's nothing strange, because at the constituency level, the people that sit just to receive the forms and check, oh, is there a passport photo on this, is there a reg on this application, has it been properly done? Those they get allowances. So what is wrong with the person on the bottom getting allowances?
Some of the things we were taught that the WDCs do not even have offices. They sit under a tree and start explaining to people.
I do not have an office. I'm in a capital city, in a cosmopolitan ward, and I do not have an office. So imagine somebody who's maybe in Central Province, Southern Province, or Western Province. There are no facilities. My chairperson for the WDC keeps forms in his bedroom. So what happens if there is Imbeba there and they snatch some of those forms, they go missing? Who are you going to blame? And we've been saying, let this CDF also contribute to the establishment of offices at the ward level, so that when you want to find out about CDF, you should simply go to that particular ward instead of going to the civic center. At the civic center, you get lost. That institution is huge. Everyone is busy. You see? So, all in all, there are so many things that have to be done at a grassroots level to make the CDF work for the purpose that it was designed, and that is to promote development in the ward.
Having explained all these factors that are at play when it comes to the CDF and everything, how has it been in terms of the CDF working for the people of Kamala Ward 5?
Well, I will tell you that it's working, but it's not working as perfectly as we would want it to work, because the process of service delivery is very, very slow. We have ended 2023, and I can tell you the projects which were earmarked for 2023 have not started. I've given you an example of the marketeers shelter, and the marketeers have been on me. Councillor, munapola tuona mu January munatiuza kuti market shelter nzachimangila zuva yabwera patingo oshoke wachabe apa manje na mvula yamba itizambolokewa ili kuti market shelter. I'm talking about the process of delay in service delivery. That's why I'm saying it's not the service delivery is not working. I mean, the CDF is not delivering according to expectations, not because there is no money, but because the process and the system of ensuring that its disbursement is what is very lengthy and at times very frustrating.
But in terms of having a number of people forming these cooperatives, can we say that your ward is doing quite good?
Yes, and in fact, the formation of cooperatives is another bottleneck. It is another point where people get stuck. The process for forming a cooperative, it's very, very cumbersome. It's very, very cumbersome. You have to do what they call bylaws. You're forming a cooperative. You can call it a club or an association. And that, thankfully, previously it was just being done at PACRA. PACRA has got containers of unprocessed applications for cooperatives. PACRA. We try to refer people to Youth Development Committee. There is also a queue. Until finally, civic centers were told to say, you should also start registering cooperatives. The queue that is there as we speak, because that was, I think, some 2 months ago when that was implemented, there are serious queues. Now, in the formation of cooperatives, now there's what you call bylaws. There are all sorts of things. In short, you need a consultant, Miriam, to just form a cooperative. You need a consultant to help you do those bylaws, because I can't do bylaws myself. The other requirements that and you need like 4 folders of the same thing. So you find that just to apply for a cooperative, you have a file this thick, and then the queues now for processing there. So again, we have hit a snag in that people want to benefit. Before you can actually apply for the CDF, you have to apply for formation of cooperative. Then they'll tell you it will take 2 weeks, 3 weeks. By 30th December, all applications should have been closed. So that is another bottleneck. We have to come up with an easy system whereby you just fill out 1 form or 2 forms and your cooperative is out the next day, so that you can now apply for your grants or for your loans and all those benefits of the CDF. So these are things that we'll continue to refine, because the increment of the CDF is a new thing. Before it was just 1.6, whereby the councillor will just sit with the MP and a few people from the council and say 1.6, pick one project. The following day it starts and you forget for the whole year. But now we are working throughout the year because of this increased CDF, which has really made the office of the councillor now an executive office, because you have to do administrative work. Whether you like it or not, whether you know how to or not, you have to do administrative work. That's it.
One of the things you also mentioned is the aspect of the increase in CDF. Do you feel, with all those factors that you explained, do you feel with the increase of CDF in 2024, councillors like yourselves will be able to contain the pressure that will come with the increase, as well as the pressure that will be coming from the residents in terms of developmental projects being spearheaded within their localities?
Yeah, we are well able. We are well able. Like I've said, the issue is not with us as councillors or WDCs. The issue is in fine-tuning the system to be able to accommodate this pressure. In short, what am I saying? We want a process whereby when the CDF monies are disbursed, if there are 10 steps in the process, let's just have maybe 3 steps. If there are 5 offices involved, let's just have 1 or 2 offices. In fact, now, any projects which are less than $1 million, the town clerk just at the civic center must be able to sign off. Previously, even for a project of 200, it has to go to ZPPA, a committee has to sit there. There are committees that sit. You have maybe 5 committees sitting for one project. The CDF committee will sit. The Council Technical Appraisal Committee will sit. From there you have ZPPA committee that will sit. Then you have another committee at the provincial that will sit. From there will be finally the Attorney General, the owner, the custodian of the funds of the treasury for the government. He also has to sign off. Then now that's when you're going to see the project coming. But now all these 5 offices that I've mentioned, sometimes they say, oh, they are out for workshop. Or the director is somewhere else, or the Attorney General is somewhere else. 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, here we are. Projects that should have been done and dusted within 2023. They are now crossing over to 2024. And even desks, 2022 we've received funding for desks. 2023 we have allocated money for desks. Do you know how many desks that I've seen in my what? Only 50 out of 500. 50 desks out of an allocation of 500. Because in 2022 we allocated to 250. In 2023 we allocated another 250. The president is saying he does not want to see any pupil sitting on the ground. The money he has allocated to us. But the implementation, in football would say, poor finishing. The finishing is very poor. So I've only seen 50 desks at Lotus Basic School. And at Kamwala School at the time, then when it is grade 9s want to beat up teachers, I took advantage of that to meet the head and discuss some of these issues. And the head was asking, well, Councillor, it's now been 2.5 years. We have not even seen a single desk here. What is happening? And those are the questions which generally people in the world have. Ndana maza CDF team ambele tabi CDF but CTV in the background nanga CDF in China, and there are those unscrupulous people who even tell you say ni boza CDF kulibe. And you know how some people are, they will think twice about it, and the more people repeat something, like people begin to believe that, hey, but it's all zilitabe paper and zolemba chapa paper but ndarama, but ndarama
that has been the notion that
yes.
paper.
Yes. People buy into such a misleading notions because truly they are not seen. If you ask a head teacher at a school to say, how has CDF benefited you? They'll tell you, I've never seen desks, I've never seen a classroom. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if CDF is there. But meanwhile, it's there.
One question I'm going to ask you is, are you always a call away when people within your ward request for your presence? Because we have always had this notion that councillor watu stiwaziwa amabuya chapetime ama election kutenga ma vote and so on and so forth.
You see, leadership styles are different. There are people when you vote for them, they disappear. You see them after 4.5 years when it comes to election. Or sometimes you won't even see them because maybe they have achieved their purposes. Then there are other people who truly care about service delivery. They truly care about seeing development. They care about the issues that are happening in their wards. And they are always open to be reached and always available for the people. So it depends on the leadership style. Speaking for myself, I try as much as possible to avail. Yesterday I had to come out of church. I was called, Mashop Suku. Yeah, I directly called the fire chief at Lusaka City Council. And they dispatched the firefighters. If I wanted, I could have said, Simkuziwa ku fire. Molibe number, toll free number yawa fire kutimu kazini to me. Nini church. I'm worshiping God. Can you spare me? Can you call the fire brigade? If I'd wanted, I would have said that. But I identify myself as somebody who's responsible, who was elected to be able to help out. So even when it's not within my mandate to do certain things, I go beyond the core of duty and do what is expected of me. But generally speaking, we are there for the people. And I know that it's not everything that I can do. And I hope people understand that it's not everything that I can do. I'm not a Superman. Politicians have come before me. They have never done everything that the people expected them to. The best that we can do is do what is within our means and resources to be able to do. And whatever we can't do, we leave it for others to do.
As we come to the conclusion of our program this morning, what are some of the developmental activities that the people in your ward will be able to see come next year, 2024?
All right. So as far as development goes, so far, I've only been able to talk about the construction of a classroom block at Kamala Basic, the road, the 2 kilometers road of the ring road, the Pongos, the drainage, and other 4 minor drainages that are happening. The pending maternity wing, it's pending. The shelter for marketeers, it's pending. Desks, 450 are pending. So to the pending list, we'll add now more construction of classroom blocks. We'll add more of the desks. We'll add more on the drainages, and we'll add more for street lighting. So the pending list is going to grow come 2024. My only hope is that we narrow down some of these stages of assessing CDF projects and ensuring their disbursement. Otherwise, development is not moving at the pace where we want it to move as councillors, and that of course affects how government is delivering. So we want the system to improve, to be able to process these applications faster, to be able to release these monies faster, and to be able to identify contractors from within the localities. Because people should not just benefit in terms of grant. You have never got any grant. You have never got any loan. I don't know if you will get one, but at least you should be able to say, well, where I stay, there is a clinic that was completed. There is street lighting in my street. I no longer have to fear when I'm coming back late from work at 22. You should be able to see some of these public services adding value to your life and existence where you stay.
Well, we've been having a conversation with Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor Mahinda Smata, who's just been giving some informative insight when it comes to development in his area and what the people outside there are supposed to see and what they should do when it comes to the CDF, because there's a hive of activities in line with CDF and a lot of people are looking forward to how they're going to benefit, and he was there giving insights on how you can benefit, you being a resident of Kamwala. But even before we close, we get to look at some of the contribution that came through from our Facebook platform. We do appreciate Vincent Piri for watching us from Vubi, and Andrew Nyendwa, who says, I feel the position of councillor should be contested by a well-qualified person and their emolument should be increased. And then this other one, Samson Banda, indicates that ensuring that people get a message, please also use local languages. And Kingsley Machila says, good morning guys, hope you are fine, enjoying the program. Those are some of the contributions. We do value them, and this is what we do come to an end, and hopefully you get glued to Camnet TV, and bye-bye for now.